everybody. Welcome to Camel City Chat. I'm John McPherson, and I am here with my friend, my dear friend, a great lady. And I can say all these things, and I know that she might feel the same way. But what I will say is I had the honor of being installed as the president of Winston-Salem Regional Association of Realtors by that lady right there.
Right here. Hey there.
This point,
it was when
Miss Ruth Hudspeth. How are you, Ruth?
I'm doing well, and that was one of the biggest honors of my career, John, and life in general. So,
well, it is funny when someone shows up to your office unannounced after they were just on the phone with you to verify you were at your office, and then start crying at your desk.
Well, I think we both started crying.
We did, what an honor. I mean,
what is it with tears in you, man?
I don't know.
We were setting up for this, and I'm still wiping away the tears. I just don't.
You want me to get the tears over here again? Come here. Tell Ruth, hey, buddy, here comes.
Don't do it.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh, you precious, precious girl.
Yep. All right, so go on, get out of here. You're gonna make my guest cry. So. We got 3, and of course, you're my first guest with 3 on the back end now. So we got 3 on the front end, 3 on the back end. The first 3 questions we ask on Camel City Chat of all of our guests.
Yep.
Number 1, where are you from, and how long you been in Winston?
So I moved here from Rolla, Missouri in 1988.
Right. You're a big KU fan.
Yeah. I'm a big Deacon fan.
Yeah, right.
And my mom was actually born and raised here, and my husband was born and raised here, and my mom met my father here.
Right.
So I consider myself a townie.
You've earned it. I think you've earned it. All right. So where's your favorite place to eat?
I love Milners, and I hope everybody supports them. I got to say, too, though, I love Fratelli's, too.
Hey, Algernon just put it out there. They're back.
Yeah, they are.
Get something. And, man, I'll tell you that Fratelli's salad. Oh.
Yeah.
But since you said Milners, let's talk about the fried green tomato sandwich over at Milners.
Oh, I love their brunches. Their steak with the egg and hash brown casserole. It's just wonderful.
And their bar is just okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing that both of those places have in common is wonderful people.
Amen.
Wonderful, wonderful people.
Yep. So I'm proud of you for not taking the mayor's thing of, there's a lot of great places to eat in Winston-Salem. And so throwing out those 2, they're great restaurants. And of course, I know that Fratelli's is not that far away from home. So
we can walk,
nice,
So that's really nice.
One thing about restaurants is sometimes you'll get into them and they'll be they'll have a big crew or something like that. Fratelli's is great just to go sit in the bar and get a meal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll throw in Putters too.
Yep, Putters.
I gotta throw in Putters is wonderful.
All right, so my kid's now changing the lighting in here. Laura, turn the light back on. That's why it's on. Do it. Do it, please. You're interrupting the show. Thank you, baby. Now. Thank you. Only because it's you, Ruth, will I let her be in here with me. She wanted so bad to see Ruth. So now, the third question is what's your favorite thing to do in Winston?
Can it be Stokes County or does it need to be Winston-Salem?
If you're going to tell me about going up to the farm, then that's okay. But what's your favorite thing to do around Winston-Salem?
Hang out on my deck with my husband and friends. Right.
Yeah. And you're not very far away from Reynolds House either. That's always good too.
We are so lucky to be where we are.
Well, your backyard is Grayland and Reynolds House.
Yeah, we can walk for miles and miles and miles right here in Winston-Salem and never feel like we're in the city. Yeah. Walking through Reynolds Gardens and Grayland and all of those areas. We love to do that.
Yeah. Well, it is a nice, it's a nice area over that Buena Vista side of town, down Reynolds and things like that. I had John on from Reynolds Gardens, and he was telling me, I always think Reynolds Gardens is right there behind I always thought it was right there behind the, the greenhouse, but it's actually goes all the way from Coliseum all the way down past the university and all that's all considered.
Oh yeah, we have friends that live over off of Coliseum in a neighborhood there. We can walk from our house to the back gate of their house through Reynolds Gardens and through the woods down there at Wake Forest, and it actually comes up to the gate at the back of their house, and they meet us there holding a beer. So yeah,
because that's now is that getting over towards where my Angelou lived?
Yes,
right. That's what I thought.
that
okay,
neighborhood.
Yeah. So you're getting over towards Old Town Country Club.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, Ruth, we got to be hard hitting with you. I mean, come on. I can't let you off the hook easy. So I want everyone to know the story that I tell about half my clients when we work together. And that is, you couldn't afford your first house at the closing table. What happened?
What are you saying? I'm missing the point.
I said you couldn't afford your first house at the closing table. This is how it
all
started.
Oh, how I got in. No, I wasn't at the closing table. I applied for the mortgage and we didn't qualify.
Oh, okay. I thought this was at the closing table.
No.
So after 17 years now, I finally get the clarification.
It was the 4th of July in 1988.
Right.
And Dee Parker from Coldwell Banker, wonderful woman,
right,
left a family picnic to get the contract and gave me some names to call for my loan. And this is in the way back, right? Dawn of time. And we were $800 short of having enough income to qualify for the mortgage. Right. And so that lender actually hired me for $800 a month so that we could qualify for our first home loan.
And that was your introduction to mortgage?
Yes, correct.
So you were hired as an underwriter?
No, closing department.
Closing department, okay.
Closing department. Used to, back in the day, we would drive. Lynn Choate, who is still with me,
right?
We still work together, trained me in the closing department.
Right.
And we would have to physically drive the collateral packages. Remember Nations Bank downtown? Nothing was electronic.
Right.
I mean, we had one of those little pouches full of all the money for the appraisals and all the notes and everything, and would have to physically take all of that to the bank.
Yep.
That was part of my job.
Right. And so now, let's do a little bit. So you were with a company, you left a company, and were partnered with someone that I went to school with. What is
Billy Reynolds?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have been together for many, many moons. We actually.
He's your work husband.
Yeah, my work husband. How lucky am I to not just have one incredible partner, but to have two? Yep. I mean, a lot of people have trouble finding just one, and I wound up with two of the best in life with my husband and my work husband, for sure.
And so you were out of town, decided to
we owned a mortgage company, a brokerage company together, right, that Bill ran. He was the president there. And I was a loan officer, a senior vice president at another lending institution. And when everything hit in 2007, we came together and opened this branch for Fairway.
So I guess I want people to realize how wonderful it has gone for you, and it's all about the people.
It's all about the people.
And
it's all about the people.
But it's also all about you, whether you want to believe it or not. You and your partner, both you and Bill, have been pillars in the lending of this area. We'll talk about some crazy things that you've pulled off when you have real estate agents like me work with you. Don't you dare chuckle. So started off, it was Bill had how many people were at the company that you guys had together?
We started Fairway in December of 2007, and there were 5 people. There were 5 of us.
5 people in one branch.
5 people, one branch.
You want to kind of give me just a taste of where we are now?
60 plus people in several branches.
You go all the way down to Wilmington?
Fayetteville. We're there. Another area manager as the Wilmington area. Okay. our main concentration is Triad, Winston, Greensboro, High Point, Burlington.
Right.
We have a location in Burlington. We have a location in Ashboro. We have a location, several in Winston,
right.
And we have in Fayetteville, and we also have a Charlotte area.
Right.
So, and then I also am an area manager of some of the South Carolina folks in Hilton Head and some other places.
Right. And what a wonderful turn this has been for you. I mean, Fairway has, huh?
I'm blessed.
Amen. Yeah. I mean, Fairway, I remember when you first got with them, they had that arsenal of funds, and you felt that they were a good company to match with you. I think I'm now going to take the record. You've talked before about how you've been able to do a closing in a certain number of days. I think this one's going to take it.
We'll do it as quick as the regulations allow. How about that?
Right. Yeah.
10 days.
10 days. And it's amazing. But a lot of times I have you on, we talk about how to get a loan and stuff like that. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about you.
It's an interesting time in the mortgage industry.
We're going to talk about
a lot to talk about.
We are going to talk about some, but I want to know how we get to how we got to Ruth, because all I know of you is you've got a wonderful mom. I love her. She's awesome.
I've been able to hug her.
Put a mask on her and you and give her a hug.
Can't get in the gate at Salem Town, and I'm glad.
Right.
Yeah. I'm glad.
That's awesome. Well, I would tell you that my dad would hug you, but you don't want to hug him. He's been in the hospital and he's out now, but he's fine.
I think the only safe way for us to go through this together is everyone needs to act like they have it, and they don't want to give it to anyone else, not their family, not their friends, not their peers, not the dude on the street. Until people start acting that way, it's not, oh, I don't want to catch it. It needs to be, oh, I don't want to give it to anyone. And just pretend you have it. Things would move a lot better, I think, if people thought that way.
It's interesting you say that, because that's the same mentality of my next question. And that is that you are a giver. And you think differently than a whole bunch of people out there. And what I mean by that is everyone is I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it. And you're like, you've always thought differently. And when we come to you're a giver, most people will make a donation or something here, those type of things, and they support things. But you are crazy insane when it comes to certain aspects. And what I mean by that is how long have you been supporting the Center for Homeownership?
Decades, couple of decades.
You teach classes, you've done that, you sponsored classes. Tell me about that charity, because I know that's near and dear to your heart that you...
Yeah, they're just a really great... Phyllis Coldwell is awesome. And they're a great organization who helps people understand what's available as far as grant funds, assistance with building your credit, understanding habitat. They have great educational classes and budget classes, and just a lot of things I think maybe we don't do in our school systems to prepare people for buying a home and owning a home. And it's just a great place. They've helped so many people.
Yeah, I had Pam on, and I'm supposed to have Phyllis on here soon.
She's awesome. Yes,
yeah,
she's awesome. Yes.
I've known her for years, and just through just meeting her, seeing her different places, and she's a ball of energy. Doesn't like the word no, and really fights for not only financial responsibility but also for rights. And so she does a good job. A lot of people, it's interesting to me is, we get into some of the different things that with regards to real estate and stuff. There are people that support, this or that, but it just seems that you are one who really dives into your industry. And, top producers sometimes don't get back to their own industry. And you're one that, is paying for years now for supportive classes and things like that. You're the first person that any realtor calls when they need help with stuff. You sponsor things. You invest in your industry. I know you're smiling there because I'd hate to know what the figures going through your mind that you put into. You started out with agents just, hey, I help you pay for part of your ad in the old Homes and Land or something like that. It's just, I think my thing with you is you've supported so many careers, and that's what I like the most about you, the trait that I don't know that you realize you have, and that is you certainly are one person that's higher up on the ladder that reaches back, and you don't try to just help one person up. You try to reach everybody up.
Well, that's kind. I feel like the credit should go to my parents. A lot of it is I was raised to believe that you only get when you give.
Right.
If you get without giving, it feels weird. There's something wrong with that. So if you get, you should be giving too. But better than that, if you start with giving, you will get.
Now, how old were you when you came here from Missouri?
24-ish. What was 88? And I'm 56. So I think I was 24.
All right. So
do those numbers add up? I don't have a calculator. Yeah. Something like that.
You don't have a financial calculator in front of you, do you? But quit reaching for it.
No. HP 12C. They don't get better than this puppy.
Hey, well, I think one's in the drawer at my office. So, question. What made you come to Winston-Salem, North Carolina?
So, my first husband, who I am not married to anymore. That's why I said my first. We both graduated from an engineering school in Rolla, Missouri. And we sort of had a bet, whoever gets the first job, the best job offer, that's where we'll go.
Right.
And he was geological engineer and I got an econ degree. So obviously the engineer got the better job offer. And we went to Chicago. And that company that he was working for there, I went to work at the Board of Trade for a while and then the EPA. And then the engineering firm he was working for had a job here to decommission the old AT&T plant on Hawthorne Road.
Yeah.
And it was just dragging on. And finally they said, do you want to relocate to Winston-Salem? And we were like, yeah, because the irony of it is I had been coming here since I was a baby. Every year we would drive, the 3 kids in the back of the Plymouth, 1,000 miles across country for Christmas because my mom's family was from here. My dad's family was in Aberdeen, so we had known this area since I was a kid.
Right. And then there was some black and gold that influenced you to stay here a little bit?
Well, actually, I went back and got my MBA in 93, 94. And I went back to school, because my family's addicted to school. I mean, there were 5 of us in my immediate family and there are 18 degrees. And I only have 2 of them. So that tells you something. I'm the black sheep, undereducated one. But I went back to MBA school because I thought maybe I wanted a change in careers. And what I learned is I got a dang good gig.
Yeah.
So it actually, a lot of money later, taught me I'm right where I need to be. But I learned a lot, made a lot of great connections. I learned to love statistics and things that perhaps I hadn't, I didn't know as much about. So it was a really good thing that I went back to school.
And got a taste of the da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Go Deeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love them,
big
don't
Deacon
you?
friend. Yeah.
Huge Deacon fan.
Well, there's a group of us and most of them are realtors.
Right.
Or property managers or some affiliation. Have been going to the basketball games together for a quarter of a century.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So I always, I want to ask some questions about Winston-Salem and we'll pepper them throughout. One that I want to ask is because you're here about the same time I was, and that is, where was Winston when you got here? And we kind of talked about this ahead of time. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from an 88 when I got here.
Right.
When I was a kid, it was all about my grandma's house. But I can talk a little bit about that. She was 1817 Everett Street.
Okay.
And for those that are familiar, that's right across the street from Baptist Hospital. And it's a big parking garage now.
Okay.
I remember jogging on the parking garage while they were building it with my grandmother when she was still alive. She owned a florist shop. She was big in Girl Scouts around here. She had a babysitting agency that actually babysat for the Reynolds and the Haynes. And she had some incredible stories. You always wonder how much of it was fiction, but she was an incredible woman. And my mom met my dad, who was, he went through seminary at Duke.
Right.
And he was in the chaplains program at Baptist. And that's sort of how they met. And I always had heard of this story from my dad about how he fell in love with my mom when she was wearing a black bathing suit.
Right.
And I bought this place up near it's at the foot of Cook's Wall, and it looks up at Hanging Rock State Park. And I took my mom up there, and the first time we were there together, she looked up and she said, "That's where I was wearing that black bathing suit."
Wow.
They had been on a youth group thing, and she was one of the chaperones, and my dad was the minister, and they were having this youth group function up there. And she said, that's where I became a twinkle in life, really. That's where my parents fell in love. And now I get to look up there,
right,
all the time. It's a pretty cool story.
It is. That's awesome. Yeah.
So Winston, when I moved here in 88, it was not about the downtown area. Nobody went downtown, right? And the Hawthorne Curve, everybody, trucks flying off of it and all of those stories. So Winston was really more, it's hard to explain. We just didn't really have a downtown, right?
Right. No, I think, what was it? Chester's was underneath the bridge, and
Chester was under. Yeah.
Was it the Rose and Thistle?
Rose and Thistle. There was also a grocery store somewhere down there. I don't know if it was a Food Line or something. We used to walk down to the grocery store. This is in the way back though.
Right.
This is like back in the 70s, early 70s. And I remember my grandma used to get a bottle of Mad Dog and hide it underneath everything in the shopping cart.
Time to change. So coming here all those different times, it's got to be, what's your favorite thing that you've seen change?
I think downtown. Old Salem's basically the same. They've done some different things, but I used to, I love going to Old Salem.
Right.
But you can't change that too much, because then you're changing Old Salem, right? But new downtown,
right? I
love walking around. I love all the arts, the things, the way that downtown has grown slow. And, I think maybe the highway put a hurt on some people, but I think it's amazing to be able to walk around and enjoy downtown Winston.
It is amazing to see, the highway put the hurting on people, and then a month later, then we've got COVID.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super
so sad.
I know that you have been very, very precise and exact in how you're handling this. I've kidded with you about, let me come over and give you a hug, and you're like, stay the heck away from my house. But
you got to pretend like you got it.
That's right. How's your staff handling it? What are you doing there at the office?
Well, we are lucky to have really incredible leadership. Steve Jacobson, I don't even know what day it was, but it was early on, like towards the end of February, maybe third week or something, when, we had 7,500 employees, give or take 100. And he, within a matter of days, had everything they needed to be able to do everything remotely. Mm-hmm. And people that were displaced, he found them places in the company doing other things. We have a trainer at the main corporate office. They got a job, right. So he's just incredible. And he is very firm also about keeping us safe.
That's cool. And I said I didn't want to talk too much about lending, but I think it's important for people to hear this. Guidelines are already changing, which is sad that they're, yeah. See, it's sad that they're changing because of the fact that with what we're going through. So what are some of the things that you've seen happen that have already?
Well, the number one thing that's creating issues is forbearance, right? And the CARES Act.
And explain forbearance.
Forbearance is when they came out and said you don't have to make a house payment. All you have to do is say that it's
You have to pay your house
You don't
payment.
have to prove it. Just
Right.
everybody stop making your house payments.
You
They
better
didn't say it exactly like that, but that's sort of how it got interpreted, right? And that wasn't very well thought through. And people need to be very careful about this. Obviously, right now we need to assist people who have lost their jobs and can't make their house payment. But if you haven't lost your job, you need to keep making your house payment.
Right.
You borrowed the money, you need to pay it back. You know, so the lots of unintended consequences from the way that was handled. And we've been very active with, our political reps and all of that to see if we can make changes. But the initial margin calls that came out in our industry because of unintended consequences were just billions of dollars. You can't even imagine. And so when companies have to start using their piggy bank to stay afloat, they're going to get more conservative. So the credit box is gone just like it did in 2008. It's just, it's a lot tighter than it was. So you've got higher credit scores, less availability of programs. Jumbo market's gone, man. You want a jumbo loan, it's going to be really hard to find that.
And what's a jumbo loan?
The non-conforming, 600,000.
Right.
It's the higher loan amounts. That whole market is just absent right now. And
what were you telling me the other day about credit scores?
Credit scores requirements have gone up across the industry, and it depends on the lender. Some banks might be at 680, some lenders might be at 640, and some might still be at 620, but it's not consistent, right? It's all over the board right now. And rates are the same.
Right.
Rates are artificially high right now because who wants a bunch of loans that people aren't going to make their house payments? And why people, I think, they need to be careful about forbearance. They say, it doesn't hurt your credit, right? Everybody's heard that. It's not going to affect your credit score. It's not going to show as a delinquency. All of that is true. But what people don't understand, it still says forbearance on the trade line under comments. And if you have a forbearance on comments on a trade line on your credit report, Fannie nor Freddie will let you get another loan, which is basically a standard conventional loan. You are ineligible for 12 months. So if you buy a house now, go into forbearance, and come February, some economists are projecting rates in the 2s. I don't know if I believe that or not, but let's just say it happens. You won't be eligible to refinance. Not only that, if you're selling, you have your house listed right now for sale, and you've chosen to go into forbearance, you can't get another loan to buy another house. So you're going to be renting for 12 months.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Anytime. Well, I knew this, and that is anytime someone sells you, there's no problems with something doesn't sound right. It isn't going to be good. And the other thing is you take those 3 months you don't pay for forbearance, you put them on the back end of a 30-year loan and do the interest payment.
It's just outrageous, man.
Yeah.
And it is a necessary thing. Gosh knows we got to help people right now. No question about it.
But
right?
only use it if
I think what they should have said is, this is only prior to this date, maybe the end of February, early March. After that, if you buy a house during a pandemic, you better be sure you can make your house payment.
Right.
They shouldn't have said you can get a loan during this and then be eligible for forbearance.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's crazy.
I mean, I understand that people are impacted that got loans 3 or 4 years ago and now they're out of work. What I don't understand is somebody getting a loan right now and then immediately going into forbearance.
Well, I mean, who'd be
That
crazy?
doesn't make any sense.
Who'd be crazy enough to buy a house during a pandemic anyway?
Like a million people. It's busy out there.
Yeah.
We actually, Fairway as a company had the best month in history in April.
Yeah, you told me that, and we're getting our other house, as you very well know, we're getting our other house ready for sale now. But it is one of those situations where if you need it, please, dear God, use it.
Oh yes,
but don't you? Hey, this is
unintended consequences, because we're all going to pay for it. The taxpayers, you're going to pay for your own forbearance, basically.
Well, I went out and got a PPP loan for my staff, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I am doing everything possible to document how I'm using it to make sure that they're not going to call me on it. If they are, they are. But I mean, I've got it over here in savings, and then what I'm doing is I'm transferring in just the amount that I'm allowed to transfer in to make the payment, and I'm trying to do it that way because I don't know if I would. I may have had to lay my team off and this is my admin staff. I may have had to lay them off. I mean, I'm getting some sales in, but it's not what I would expect.
Well, I got to tell you,
Still doing good though.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of refis too, and we're more of a purchase. That's more of our niche than refis, but we're lucky, right? In my business, we can all work from home now. Everything's electronic. You can DocuSign everything. You can text me pictures of your driver's license. I can upload them into the file. So we can do all of that. And we can also turn up the refi volume if the purchases fall off.
Right.
You don't have that luxury. You don't have another spigot if people aren't buying houses.
Right.
Or selling houses.
Well, I do, but I really don't want to start building houses in the middle of a pandemic either, because of the fact that,
although we need some affordable housing, man, big time.
And what is affordable? I had Paul Lowe on, and he and I have argued about it and talked about it. I mean, I guess it's about $600 is considered. There's a formula or something like that, but I mean, 30, and this is. Are
you talking 600 all in? Is that what you're saying? 600 PITI?
I think so, yeah.
So let's say
about 52.
That's about 90.
You got to make
$93,000 loan.
Right. Okay.
That's what that translates to for.
What do I have to make to qualify for a $600 loan?
Well, it depends on how much your debt is, right? But assuming you had no debt, you need to be making about $23,000 a year.
All right. So divided by 52, divided by 40.
What's the 23,000?
I was trying to just be by an hourly wage.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. You need to be at about 11.7. You did all right, dude. That was pretty.
Yeah. What is it?
11.17 an hour, 40 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's still we would expect. I mean, that we would still.
You can't. I mean, where are you going to find a $93,000?
Right.
A bunch of $93,000 houses right now.
Right. And where are you going to build them too? Because as you know, I'm a supporter of the Realtor Political Party, which is purple. And I know that you are aware of it and support it. And
yes,
what I will tell you is they've now given us figures. We're looking at 30 to 40% of a home price is regulations. Isn't that crazy, Ruth?
It's well, I mean,
and the numbers.
I bought my first house in 1988, and the cost was $88,000.
I think my
1,600 square foot.
94,000, or 87 to 94,000, and that was in 1982.
Yeah,
1992. You're older than me.
So, I don't know. I don't know where there are a lot of gaps in our society, and I think those will be highlighted through this.
Right.
And we need to address the gaps.
And I had on someone that you may know, Nigel Alston.
Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel. And we were talking. He's a great guy, and I'd never really talked to him much. We talked for, gosh, an hour, and then turned around and probably talked another 30 minutes afterwards. And what I will tell you is he was just talking about different things here and there, and it was definitely a learning experience for me. I didn't know that where the new Wake Forest campus was what he had said is, that was Winston-Salem. That was Black Winston is what he called it. And that, once you came over the railroad tracks, that was uptown. And he was telling me all these different things that, I didn't know about Winston, and we talked about affordable housing. But I don't know if you want, you said $90,000. If you divide that by,
well, if you use 600 for just principal and interest, it's a different story, right? So it depends on, it's inputs only, outputs only as good as input. If you're looking at 600 and you're talking about just the principal and interest,
right,
that would mean $133,000 mortgage.
So let's take $100,000 house and divide it by 125.
800.
So that's an 800 square foot house. That if
that's the cost per square.
Yeah. If you're building a house based on, you got to pay for permits, you got to get the lot price, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. You got to build $100,000 house, and it's not going to be that big. And so I know Lou is, and he's a good friend of yours. I'm sorry, my daughter's pulling my hand down and it's making me slide down in the seat.
Hi, Laura.
Hey, she's ready for me to get off the phone. Laura, no. But I know you're good friends with Lou. I mean, I believe they got some grants and stuff to make the area right there at the bottom of Peters Creek and stuff. There you got 72 units in there. It's going to be affordable housing, I believe.
That's awesome.
And so everyone screams affordable housing, but something's got to give. And is it that
how about a higher minimum wage? How about higher wages?
That could be it. But with higher wages come higher costs. And then the other thing is you've got, I think one thing is I've got a friend of mine that bought a place in Hanestown. And one of the requirements that he has to do for PB, pedestrian business, is put in a bicycle rack in front of his place that he's renting out to a plumber. Now, I don't know about you, Ruth, but the last time I biked over to pay my plumbing bill, but they're putting that onus on the individual.
It's always a balance. There's always a middle of the road. The bike rack they want to encourage.
Right.
Transportation easier for people. I don't know.
Why not put it on the corner? Why does each one of those places have to have a bike rack?
I don't know. There's probably a reason.
Yeah, it is. And
you know what I'm saying? I don't know. This is above my pay grade.
And it's way above mine. Don't worry.
Yeah. But, I can just say we do lack affordable housing across the country. Across the country.
And that's what Nigel talked about is everyone just talks about it, nothing gets done. What we need to do is lock people in a room until they come out with a solution. And one of those solutions may be, hey, instead of requiring this, maybe we don't require that, to make it incentive, rich for the individual contractor. Because let's be honest, no one wants to do something that they're going to lose money on.
Mm-hmm.
Ruth, give me $10. Well, why? Because I just want $10. What's the benefit to someone doing this or that? And if the benefit is, hey, I may not be able to make 10% on something. Hey, I have to make 5%, but I still break even or make some money. But then I'm able to, provide someone with affordable housing, then that's a different story. But we can't ask contractors out there to
lots of different things. They could do tax credits.
Right.
They could do land grants. I mean, there's a whole tool belt of ways. And yeah, I think you're right. We need to get serious about it.
Because, I mean, and that's where we go back to what I was talking about with you. You are phenomenal when it comes to supporting people owning homes. And, I personally know that I wouldn't be successful in real estate, as I told you that day, without your support through Real Estate Radio, without your support when I make, I don't really know if I would call it a mistake, but when things happen, and you didn't smile as big as I thought you would on that one. But basically what's going to happen with our industry. Can you still hear me? That's what happened. I knew that you went dark there for a second. I think one thing that I know you love to talk about more than anything else in the world is, as we get close to the end of this, let me finish up there. Sorry we had the technical glitch there. Is you love to talk about you and how much you do for others. I mean, there's just nothing that you love more in the world than this. This is like my favorite. I'm watching you spin back and forth in the chair there, because you're just so like, thanks, John. I really didn't appreciate that.
Well, your character is what you do when no one's watching, John.
I know, but so what I guess what I what is it? It's is it character? What is it? I thought that was like ethics is what you're told to do, and morals are what you do when no one else is watching, or something like that. But so I don't think a lot of us would be realtors without you. I'm going to say that, okay? I mean, I can say that you consistently have helped my career. And I'll try the joke now that when I've realized that you're frozen. I mean, whether it be that, hypothetically, maybe a mistake, well, it really wasn't that big of a mistake, on someone's part. You're doing good, though. You're blinking, so I know that you're actually hearing this. Happened twice now, which blows me away in 17 years. But no, you're helping one of my clients that didn't realize that they hadn't completed the entire process. And, taking a loan and turning it around in 10 days is just astronomically just amazing. And I can't say thank you enough.
When in underwriting today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I certainly wouldn't be who and what I am right now without the real estate community in this town. Through the last 30 years, it's business, but the real estate community is really my family.
Well, you've supported, what I'd say is you've supported us, emotionally, financially, and mentally as well. But, Real Estate Radio, I mean, you supported that for 11 years, and we're a sponsor of our show, and I can't thank you enough. And I mean, I hope that some of the business that, we created helped you out on that sponsorship. But I mean, it's just, you do everything for everyone. And so is looking up at that mountain, is that what you do for yourself and your husband?
Yeah. I mean, right now, man, it's real hard to do anything. I'm trying to stay positive. That's, it's a difficult time. I think we'll learn a lot about ourselves. What I do for myself is outside, riding around in the Polaris on the trails, picking up sticks. I pick up a lot of rocks and sticks.
Right.
And what I love to do.
Well, I told you there were 3 on the front and the 3 on the back end. I actually asked you one of them earlier, and that was, Winston Salem, where was it, and all that kind of stuff. Now, this is the hard question that I really haven't asked anybody before, but I want to ask you because I'd like to see you get emotional. No, what do you want to be remembered for, Ruth?
Pretty basic. I'd like to be remembered for somebody that was a good wife, a good daughter, a good sister, a good friend, and a person that does the right thing. It's really important to me to be remembered as someone who was a woman of their word. My word once given is yours, and that's important.
Yeah.
Guess who that is?
That's calling right now? Your mom?
That was Ted.
Ted Kelly? Yeah.
Teddy.
Are you going to the gathering coming up, or
Thursday, tomorrow?
Yeah.
We're socially distanced.
We're all socially distanced, and I'll be there. Yeah.
Are you coming to that tomorrow?
Yeah. I was invited. I'm coming. So yeah, we'll talk.
Cool.
So the last thing is where do you see Winston going, or where do you want Winston to go?
I like the focus on education and research. I think that we're doing a lot from what I've read. I don't have firsthand knowledge of this, but a lot of research for this terrible virus.
Right.
Cool to be a leader in those types of research, R&D areas. But I also want it to be a great place for people to raise their families.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and be able to afford to live here.
Yeah.
And be able to have a house and a backyard and pools and no hungry kids. And so those are kind of some of the things that would mean a lot to me. Right. Making sure everybody's got a bed to sleep in and everybody's got a meal to eat. I would like for Winston-Salem to be known for that.
Well, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And you know a lot is what I will say. And you care way more than you could even be documented. I appreciate you. I'm honored that you're my friend. Your support of those that need it is amazing. Your friendship is phenomenal. And what I would say is whenever anyone says, well, why would you recommend Ruth? I'm like, well, she's been doing this since since the 80s. And I tell that story. And then because we're not allowed to officially say how many years it has been, you've told me. But the other thing is I know where Ruth lives. I know where she likes to eat. I know her grocery store. If you're telling me about some company that's up from the state that I was born in,
you can
they don't care. They don't care when they go to bed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the strength of a local lender, even in this age of technology. Mm-hmm. Using a local lender, we are held accountable.
Right. Well, I can't say thank you enough is all I will say. I appreciate you. Huh?
Is she still there?
No, she had to go. It was getting to be like, well, I want to do something. Like, well, I'm playing with Ruth right now. Well, okay. So she'll be back though. But what I will tell you is I love you, babe. You're just awesome. You're the most awesome.
With your dad, I would love to Zoom with him.
Oh, we can do that right now as soon as you're done. As soon as this is done.
Can we?
Yeah, sure. We'll call my dad. But we'll call him in just a second. But no, I kid around, but I really love you. You're an awesome friend. You're a great lady. And tell sweet Glenn I said hey. And what we're going to do, folks.
Not easy for me. No, not easy at all. Not easy for anyone. But that it might not be as hard for me to adjust is because I married a perfect social distancer.
I tell everyone that my wife invented social distancing with me years ago. But let me sign off and tell everybody thanks for watching Camel City Chat. We'll be back with another episode here soon. I want to thank my guest, Ruth Hudspeth. And as I've said many times, if you can watch us and check us out on YouTube, subscribe, like, etc., I greatly appreciate it. And Ruth, thanks for everything you do for Winston-Salem.
Love you.
Love you too.